Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the GioMoShow, your home for all Golden Grizzlies basketball. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to help support the show, and look forward to more coverage of the Golden Grizzlies with guest interviews as well. Don't forget to follow the Instagram as well, at the GioMO Show on Instagram, and at GioMoSheri, WXOU, and use the hashtag #TheJoeMoShow to stay connected with everything. All that's in the description. You know the deal is. And the story we're talking about today, the previous game the Golden Grizzlies have played as part of as part of their three-part series against the top 10 teams in the country. Last week, it was number 7 Michigan. Yesterday, as of this recording, it was against number 1 Purdue. And it is a night and day difference between their performance against the Wolverines and then against the Boilermakers. We'll talk all about that here on the GioMo Show. And the final score, not a Golden Grizzlies win. We did not shock the world and defeat the number 1 team in the country, although Oakland has had their chances in their history of doing so. This is probably one of the latest chapters in that story of Oakland potentially shocking number 1 teams in the country. As you know, you recall back to Kay Felder against Michigan State in the Palace of Auburn Hills, that being their shining example of it. But there have been other times where Oakland has had a chance here. But what Greg Kampe has described those as, those were games where a singular player, their star player, their potential NBA player, Kay Felder and Kendrick Nunn being the examples he gave, those were the games where it was the player that brought their team to have a chance to it. This game was different, though. This game was where it was an entire team effort. It was not necessarily a singular 30-plus point performance, but everybody had contributed to a game that ended in a 10-point loss, 87 to 77. But still, Oakland had leads throughout this game, kept it within single possessions, all thanks to the group effort that they had. That's what makes this game a particular special in terms of Oakland's history against highly ranked opponents here. And we'll set it up with the game flow here. I was able to experience the game through WXOU's broadcast from West Lafayette, Indiana. Harjan Buttar, along with Ben Schrader, 2 former WXOU sports directors, making the trip and making the call, and Ben doing his best with a hoarse voice, giving us the story of this game. I talked to him to get his read on the game, and he gave me what he could on the phone, given his voice being completely shot in that game. The first thing that he said to me was that it was the absolute loudest atmosphere he has ever experienced in college basketball. Not only just from Ben's perspective at the play-by-play for WXOU, but Kampe said this in the Grizz Vision as well. Even last year, they were at Fog Allen Fieldhouse against Kansas, who was preseason number 1 at the time that we faced them as our kind of early non-conference part of last season's schedule. But they've been to Fog Allen. They've been to the Breslin Center. They've been everywhere. Kampe's been everywhere that you can imagine. And that night at the Boilermakers' house, that was the loudest he's ever experienced. And if you listen to the broadcast, you can absolutely tell and agree that that was the case. But Ben tells me that that was something that Oakland fed off of, as opposed to being intimidated by. It was something that fueled their engines, kind of at the expense of Purdue, where all the pressure is on them. And trust me, it was no, especially towards the end of the game, Purdue did prove to be the number 1 team in the country, but man, did Oakland make this one close and really interesting. It was tied at halftime, 35 to 35. To put that into perspective, being tied at halftime against the number 1 team in the country is huge. And I'm going to say it throughout my whole game recap here. Put it into context to reemphasize it. This is the number 1 team in the country. There is no way that you should be that close against a Horizon League team, despite them having the Horizon League Player of the Year preseason or not. You are the number 1 team in the country. Horizon League should not be a challenge for you, but it was that night. Oakland, with a team effort, out-rebounded Purdue. Out-rebounded a Big Ten team, 39 to 37. I mean, it was close, but even total and offensive rebounds, Oakland had more. It's crazy. And as the second half went on, so they came into it tied at halftime, potentially could have had the lead, but a mistake led to a tying 3-point shot, giving Purdue some of that momentum going into the tunnel. But about 8 minutes, by the first media timeout, that 16-minute media timeout in the second half, Purdue 8-point lead. They were going fast. They were turning on the jets, trying to make this thing, try to grow themselves a lead that they can maintain throughout the game as they were feeling it. They were feeling the thoughts creeping into their head of, could we possibly lose this game? The crowd felt it as well, however many hundreds of thousands, at least it sounded like, in the house that night. You could tell there was that kind of nervous doubt. Like, are we going to be a team that drops one non-conference at home, number one? I mean, like, that was starting to creep into their minds. But as soon as Purdue got back on it, the place lit back up. So that's what they were trying to do by the first media timeout. They got themselves an 8-point lead, but Oakland would turn it around, get it within one before that next media timeout. The lead extended a little bit, and it was starting to get close as you went farther down the game. 8 minutes left. Oakland's within a couple of possessions. 5 minutes left. Oakland's within a couple of possessions here. But where the game really broke out and where Purdue was able to actually extend and kind of land the plane of that game was at about the 6-minute mark, where in that situation, looking at the play-by-play here, Oakland was down by only 5 and a series of a Purdue 3-point made and 5 points, about 5:59 left to go in the game. A 3-point by Purdue extended the lead to 8. Oakland would knock it. Ziare Wells, who had a great game, we'll talk about him in a second. Ziare Wells would get a jumper in the paint to make it a 6-point game. And then Purdue would unleash a flurry of 3-pointers that really extended their lead and got this thing out of reach. They went 4 of their last 5 3-point attempts to just put the final nail in the coffin for this game that Oakland really had a chance in defeating the Boilermakers. So that's what led us into the final score of 87-77. The lead actually got up to 14 before the game's end. So Oakland really held on for so much of that game. And it was something where it's like, you are super happy as an Oakland fan that we had a performance like that, but it was almost so close that you're almost disappointed that we didn't win. I mean, naturally, disappointed that we can't win, but just when you lay it all out there, especially comparing it to their last game against Michigan, this was an incredible performance by Oakland, led by a 21-point double-double by Ziare Wells, who I mentioned a little bit earlier. 21 points and 12 rebounds were had. He had 10 of them in the first half. So Purdue made some changes to kind of get him away from the boards, but still a 21 and 12 performance for Ziare Wells speaks very well for the Golden Grizzlies. And especially going to the Michigan game, it was Isaac Garrett who was on top of things for them. We haven't even seen a Baru game yet. We don't know when we'll see that at a non-conference, or we're just saving it for the Horizon League schedule. But Wells, Garrett, you got to imagine Robinson at some point this season is going to have one of his signature games. Baru is absolutely due for one. So you got really what Campy has described in the preseason, a very deep team. A team where it's not necessarily singularly focused on a certain player, but it is, you can have it from anybody. That's really dangerous for foes and opponents, especially at the Horizon League. You guard one guy, the other one's open. It's one of those situations. That makes it very, very potent. And I want to bring it to Baru as well, as we'll take a look at the box score of this game. Baru had a great performance as well, where he finished the game with 11 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, and a steal. It was everywhere in this game. Ziare Wells, as we mentioned, 21 points, 12 rebounds. He was 9 of 16 from the floor as well, made all 3 of his free throws, as well as an assist and a steal. Nasim Ashore showing up as well. 3 of 8 from beyond the arc, 5 rebounds, an assist as well, would put him at 15 points, second leading scorer for the Golden Grizzlies. And also with 11 points was Brody Robinson, struggling in the shooting department, 2 of 7 from deep, 4 of 12 from the field, but 4 assists and 2 steals in this game, it was really spread out for Oakland, and Isaac Gary getting his 10 points as well, 4 of 8 from the floor, and 5 rebounds and 3 assists. You had 5 Golden Grizzlies in double digits against Purdue. That's a fantastic game for Oakland. That sets them up pretty well to face off in our next game. I believe they'll play on Wednesday, traveling to Kelvin Sampson and the Houston Cougars. Now I don't know what to think as far as what we're going to be expecting to see for that game as well, because if you guys watch back at the last episode where I was talking about the Michigan game, I predicted it was going to be a similar thing against Purdue where, yeah, we'll have one player who has a pretty good, performance individually, but it's going to get out of hand fast. Now with this game, I have no idea what's going to happen against Houston. I don't know what to expect. You had this performance against the number 1. What's it going to look like against the number 2? Obviously a totally different team, but who knows? Who knows at this point? As you feel like after that performance, Oakland is knocking on the door of a big non-conference win. And maybe if it's not against Houston, then it could be against some of their other foes as well. Remember, they play Michigan State towards Christmas time. But, looking down at their schedule here, will it be against UCF? Will it be against... Well, we don't really get as big of opponents until that Michigan State game. But point being, you feel like Oakland is due for a really good, shocking kind of game. And maybe it is against Houston. Who knows? Who knows? That's very exciting for me when it comes to Oakland basketball. This is what it's all about. This is that kind of non-conference hype that you get. And just projecting it, like I said in last episode, just projecting it down to the Horizon League level, this Oakland team is going to be nuts if they can keep up performances like this. I'm really looking forward to what they have what they have for us in store there. Unfortunately, I didn't get to experience this game live through the WXOU broadcast because I ain't getting Peacock. No way. That's not happening. ESPN Plus, yes. I'm a professional, but I ain't getting Peacock for one game. But either way, I was unable to experience it directly from WXOU live because I was covering high school football at the time. And of course, I miss a good one. I'm listening back to the broadcast, and it's as loud, as intense, as crazy as everyone is writing about the game. So it was a great game, great performance. Looking forward, number 2, Houston. That'll be on Wednesday night, 8 o'clock. And then Oakland will come home on Saturday the 15th to face off against Defiance College in their routine opening night performance against the Yellow Jackets or Yellow Jackets or Hornets. I can't remember. Either way, we'll finally be able to see the Golden Grizzlies in person, and I can't wait to get to some of our guest interviews that we'll have in the coming weeks here as part of our coverage of Golden Grizzlies basketball. It won't just be me the entire time. I'll have some of my guests on like I did in the season previews. Don't you guys worry one bit. So that'll wrap it up for this kind of quick edition of the GioMo Show, your home for all Golden Grizzlies basketball. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe next week. We'll talk about their game against Houston and what they could look like when we see them against Defiance College. My name is Giovanni Moceri here for the GioMo Show, and we'll see you soon.